What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We are back for another Spy Family. We have here the other co-hosts in Matt and Lucas. What's going on, gentlemen?
What's going on, man? Glad to be back.
Talking about some more anime.
Yes,
What's going on,
sir.
Lucas?
Elegance. That's all I can remember. I'll be saying that at everybody from now on. I'm just screaming at people random on the street.
Elegant.
Elegant.
Elegant. So yeah, let's go ahead and set the stage. So episode 4, of course, they're going into their introduction interview, and you know they were coming in strong. Like they were like, all right, we're prepared for anything and everything, but they didn't expect to be watched as closely as, what was it, the headmaster, the main headmaster?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
he was looking at them. He was caught off guard. He was like, so elegant. And like from that point on, like anything they did, no matter what test they did, he was like, he's zeroed into them and everything they did. What did you guys think about episode 4 though? What was you guys' take on it? Let's go ahead and just kind of open it up. This is fully spoilers, by the way, you guys. If you all hadn't seen the episode, go and watch it. The show is great, so you're not gonna, you don't want to miss it. But we're gonna go talk about spoilers. All right. So what would you guys take? Lucas, I see you got something.
I was confused on why everything they did was elegant to him. I was highly confused about that. It didn't matter what they did.
Nah, it didn't.
Change clothes, elegant. Change clothes again, elegant. Save boy, elegant. I'm like, wait a minute. He's just saying it as everything being elegant. It was a hilarious episode with some very poignant, touching moments at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Especially when the headmaster, not headmaster, but Professor, I'm gonna call him Professor Swan. I can't remember what his name was, but I know his last name was Swan.
Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
And he led to a very touching moment. But other than that, it was lighthearted fun. As you see them prepare for the interview, you see everybody in the world spying on them,
right,
in every step of the way, which I thought that was an ingenious way to introduce people to how the school operates. That even you walking into the school, they're judging you, because that's how most private schools for kids, and no matter how much they cost to get in, this is how they judge you before they let you in. So I thought that was fun. Again, it was just a nice, lighthearted episode. We got to see all the characters. We got to see a bit of each of their characters and a bit of their nervousness as it came to Anya in this interview.
Right.
And making sure everything was perfect, and how, just like in any hijinks type of show, where when you need everything to go perfect, everything goes wrong.
Right.
And how do you react to everything going wrong?
Right. What about you, Matt?
Yeah, one of the things that it reminded me of, like off the bat with the judging, was I don't know if you guys have seen. Well, I don't know, Sam. I don't know if you've seen it, but Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
So it reminded me of the Hunter exam. Like the Hunter exam, when they even had to get in there, they were being judged before they even got to the exam site. Mm-hmm. They had like 3, just a boat ride to the place that was going to take them to the place that took them to the exam site. All of that was a test. And to me, it reminded me so much of that, because they were being looked at the whole time. And it was really interesting just seeing like Lloyd saying, hey, people are watching me. And even Anya, Yor picked up on it too. Like, people are watching me. And like just the way how they had their own sense of intuition that they were being watched. I thought that was really cool to just differentiate their styles and their sense of intuition. But like, yeah, I mean, elegant, man, elegancy. The episode was elegant. Like, I mean, it's one of those anime things where you always need the one guy, the one old guy in the village. Right. Yeah, the one old dude in the village that has like certain standards, and he's always, pushing out his beliefs on everything, and like it was just interesting. It just threw me because they had clothes already. It's like there's no way they're gonna come into the house with their dirty clothes on. Rips off the clothes, and then, and then it happens again. His shirts get ripped. Don't worry. They think that we're commoners, and then they go into the next thing, and so it was fun, and it was really touchy to see everyone kind of take certain jabs personal, especially when it came to Anya towards the end, and again, just further exploration of Lloyd, showing how much this job is really changing his entire perspective and the way that he lives his life and how he's been doing his job up until this moment.
Right.
Because he's like, it's the first time that I've felt nervous. So it was really cool to kind of see him, I guess, his character break down. I love that he was able to kind of like hold himself at the end and translate it to a mosquito bite. Because he was about to Millie Rock dude in the face. So yeah, man. And last thing I'll say about it that I really enjoyed was they opened an additional layer for Anya as a character, because the minute they mentioned her mom, that guy mentioned her mom, that's when she started breaking down. And we actually I don't remember seeing Anya break down like this or actually cry in sadness.
Right.
Where like it triggered something that was going on with her and she couldn't control herself. So yeah, that was just interesting. We got to explore more of that. And yeah, it was a great episode.
Dang, you just dissected the whole fourth episode. Okay, so I'm trying to...
Oh, my bad. I didn't even know that was the intention. I thought you were supposed to just explain the things you like.
No, you're good.
My bad. I ain't get no script.
No,
I ain't get no points.
You know what? I'll take the L on that. No, the thing for me, man, is just watching them work as a team. You know what I mean? Like, it's so weird to say, but like from the last episode, them kind of getting comfortable with each other, them getting to adapt to each other, Lloyd kind of letting his guard down, but understanding, okay, maybe this can work. And watching them, especially in the beginning, like be on it, no matter what was going on. Even Anya was on her best behavior in every way, shape, or form. Like, she was like, this is important for my family. This is important for my dad. This is important for my livelihood, kind of thing. And so, like, no matter what the situation was, nobody overstepped. Everybody kind of was like, all right, Lloyd, you take the lead. Okay, no, I'll take care of this. I think the thing that caught me off guard is not even when the little boy, was stuck in the mud and, Lloyd, like a G, picked him out and then was already ready to change back. I think it was when the bull rushing thing happened, because there was a lot of things going on with that scene. It was like, one, the headmaster had no idea that was actually going to go down. And he was like, crap, we got to save everybody. And then Lloyd kind of assessed it like, okay, this is a test, but this is way too over the top. And, he went and, darted to try to save the boy. But then watching Yor take the freaking, she took that joint down. And then to watch Anya after the fact really utilize her powers in a different way. So it wasn't so much that we always assessed that Anya, she could read people's minds. But it's almost like she could tell what even the animals were doing, what they were thinking, what they were processing. And she handled it more gently than either one of them could have. And it led me to believe like, oh, wow, this is so interesting, because it showed me the potential of what a refined version of them later on could be. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all had a take on that or just that scene in general.
Nothing like that. I didn't.
No, I do.
I didn't put much thought behind it. I said, "Oh, she could talk." Well, I assume because of her powers that she could also read the mind of animals. I mean, I've seen Dr. Dolittle. Like you can do both. So I figured that she could read the mind of animals. It's that scene in particular was just the change at the end was the funniest part of that scene. Because it was almost like, clearly you all can't be ready again.
Ain't no
for
way.
this interview to
Ain't no way. He got muddy. Like he get out there.
The shirt was ripped.
Shirt was ripped. Like ain't no way.
When the headmaster said, it's not even being elegant. It's not even about being elegant anymore. These people are scary.
Like
it is the sense of them being prepared for anything humanly possible that could have stopped or derailed Anya from getting into this school. That's what I got the most out of this scene. Man. Is that they were prepared for everything up until what happened later on, right. Because that was the one thing you couldn't prepare for.
No, yeah.
So it kind of showed them from the beginning up. from the beginning of them getting to the school until that moment, it was we can prepare for any outcome humanly possible. I think that episode got its best when you realize, or when they got to a space where something they couldn't prepare for.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I loved about it too, just on a personal level too, is like my sensei, my Kaicho, always enforces like we always everything about us, what we do in our every life outside of the dojo is about preparedness, being prepared for anything and everything. And one of the things that I took out from that scene was like, man, I need to carry me an extra shirt, underwear, and shorts in my car when I'm driving, because you never know if you're out somewhere and something happens. Like, you never sat down, you put on an extra 2 pounds, and your pants is just going out for everybody to see. So I'm like, man, I need to carry me some extra clothes. So that was just one little thing I took from that on a personal level. But to talk about what you was mentioning, Sam, with her reading like the cow's mind, I didn't even think about that, honestly, because I know sometimes in these things there's rules like, okay, maybe I can only read humans' minds, but I can't read anybody else's minds, or maybe I'm more of an empath. I can, read feelings or emotions more than thoughts, like, audible thoughts, right? So to me, it was like, okay, this is an additional layer for the fact that she was able to like sense what that cow needed in that moment and be able to help them in her own way. And the funny thing about that scene too is just all the other cows in the background,
they were like stepping back,
scooting away. They were like, no, she done messed up my man's. I'm not about to have this. So they're like, no, we ain't come here for all this. We just gonna go back. So yeah, man. I mean, that entire scene definitely set up a lot of potential for what we could see with the team as an A-list team. Like later on the line, this could be a serious team. They're already the most dangerous, Avengers group right here, right? Without even knowing it.
Yeah, all they need is like a little pet or something, or something crazy. But yeah, no, we got to talk about talking about like Anya was like, she noticed the calf, she was like, you're scared, and then it's like, no, it's okay, you're gonna be all right. But then later on, foreshadowing, she has to deal with her own trauma, because it was when the headmaster was kind of assessing with the question, then you got the jerk guy that kind of was like, said something just off kilter. And like, you knew what his intent was to say that. What we didn't anticipate is that every single one of them were emotionally compromised by him saying that. Like, I felt like they all fit the way that an actual mother and father would react. Because like, your reactive, like, she was like chatting on. She was like, you ain't about to do that. She was ready to kill this joker. Like, straight up, she was still talking. And Lloyd in the back of his head was like telling her to calm down, but he was also trying to hold it in himself. And it was like the moment that he said what he said and Anya reacted, and she couldn't say anything because she was just emotionally distraught, because she didn't say anything off kilter, nothing. Like, she couldn't move forward with that. How did you guys dissect that scene and layer it? Because the other part about the whole entire episode for me is kind of like, as a dad, especially with the dad of two, it's all about being prepared. You have to be prepared ahead of time before you even go out the house. Like, okay, you got 2 diapers. Okay, you got a bottle ready. Okay, you got a peanut butter jelly sandwich ready. Okay, you got to make sure that we get back in time before you need to get, somebody a nap time. So it's always about being prepared, especially when you have kids. But it was like, this one was like, okay, this is really connected. But you can never account for a situation happening where you're emotionally compromised as well, especially being the parent, because anything can happen to your kid at any time. But how you react to it is the most important thing, because that's how they see you, and also how you see yourself as their parent. And I don't know how you guys took it, but for me, it resonated so much. Seeing how much they care. It wasn't even so much that they became emotionally compromised and reacted. It was so much more that they are connected so closely to Anya so quickly. So I don't know. How did you guys take the back?
There's an additional layer to what you're saying too, just to add to it. Like, not only did you not anticipate the situation, as a parent, but there's also the fact that like, you are a parent and you can't be wilding out, because there's someone that's looking up to you.
Right.
There's someone you're responsible for. There's people you're responsible for. And you can't just react anyhow. Because if you were probably like single man, no kid, you probably would have dropped this dude, a long time. But like you were responsible, so it's like he's in a position now where he's like, okay, all right, it's a couple things. I got my mission, but then there's also Anya. But then there's also like Anya looks up to me, and we were seeing that he actually cares about her well being because he actually mentioned it a few scenes back, where he was like, okay, I don't even care about this test right now. Like she's not comfortable right now. And that was major because at first he was like, man, it's all about the mission. I'm about this mission.
Right.
And now he's like, okay, I got to actually consider how she's feeling now because even like little things like, oh, Anya, is this crowd okay? Is this crowd too big for you?
Right.
It becomes like, it's more than just me. It's more than how I feel. It's about her. It's about, my wife. It's like, and it's weird to say, but like they did pick up. They are really getting attached to each other, and they're like denying their emotions and their feelings about it because they're still trying to convince themselves that their mission and their overall goal is the priority. And we're slowly starting to see that it's starting to not be a priority. And I know we'll probably talk more about that in episode 5, but
we will. We definitely will. What about you, Lucas?
Lloyd. How dare you? How is it, right, that you're a spy? Like every backstory of this guy, and you don't prepare for him attempting to make you and to break your family in every way, shape, or fashion. While the scene was touching, and like the family, as you see them compromise over Anya, was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It really brought me back to, Jesus, you're a horrible spy. How did you see this coming when the first thing he said is this guy is divorced?
Mm-hmm.
His wife just left him a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
He just lost custody of his child. So at that point, I would assume he would do whatever it took to break you, your wife, and your kid, because that's his goal, because he's frustrated and mad at the world for everything. Plus, you said he's a legacy hire. So he didn't even earn the position
that he's in.
Like, so I was a tad bit thrown off that he wasn't actually prepared for him, because as he said it, as they were going on, he was like, well, I know he's trying to get to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, did you? If you knew it, why did you break? Like,
I gotta respond for that.
No. But here's the other part. Anya can actually read minds.
Yeah.
So she read what he said. My goal is to do whatever I can to break you. When he asked about his mother, and the first thing he said was, I don't know anything about her first mother. I would assume you would have come up with a backstory, considering you have a child and you're telling her, by the way, your first mom died. She's replacing your first mom. Maybe we need to give a backstory on your first mom, because I need something to you to go back towards if they ask you said question. In all honesty, if you're telling me the interview was all about the family, and you preached through this whole episode, and matter of fact, before this episode, that the thing they're going to look at most is family, I would have assumed they would have asked questions about her mother.
So I think this is what I do. I know you got something, Matt. This is the thing. I'm not even gonna say they didn't even have enough time, because they could have talked about this in the last episode, and they came through and bonded as a family. But then the next day was supposed to be the interview. But this is the reality of it. I don't think Lloyd wants to. I don't think he wants to emotionally compromise Anya in any way, shape, or form. What I mean by that is, I think that if he would have been like, okay, Anya, there's a possibility he's going to ask about the death of your mom. This is what it is. This is what it is. Even if he would have said that to her, I still think that emotionally she would have had a reaction. And I don't know that he would have been able to hold himself in the more that got prodded. And I think that if realistically, I don't think there would have been a way for them to really plan for that at all. Because if the reality is that Lloyd said that the backstory is that his previous wife, her mom, died, and he's asking her, what about your mom? How do you feel about your mom's death? It's gonna connect the chord no matter what. I feel like there's no way around that. I really don't.
I gotta respond to that. So any of you guys know how to code? And you guys know Python?
A little bit.
So okay, think about it like a program, right? You have values and you have your strings. You type everything up, your codes run fine. The minute you add and if you type your value incorrect and your string is incorrect and you try to print it, it's not going to run. You're gonna get a syntax error. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Right. That's Lloyd right now. I don't think that Lloyd wasn't prepared for the question. I think that Lloyd has a bunch of new programming that he's trying to figure out, and his body and his mind and his training, as we have already seen up to this point, is messing with him terribly. Like even the most little things, like even back in the first episode where Yor walks in on the room and she's like, "What the hell? How did somebody slip past my gaze?" Or even, "Why am I falling asleep on this job? What the hell's going on with me?" Right. Or just little things like that. Because we've up until this point, we've seen this guy was just all about the action. He was doing his thing. His programming was fine. There was no problems. The minute Anya being this random unstringed value that's in this entire situation that's messing with his code, and he has no idea. It's like the computer. You put that in, the computer's not going to understand.
He's calling Anya a virus, y'all, just for context.
I'm just saying, though. I mean, it's true, though. I mean, if you think about it, he's programmed to the T, right? And you introduce this new thing here that even he's speaking of viruses and your immune system. You're not used to it. What the heck? You're going to act weird. Things are going to show up that you can't even anticipate. So I feel like him reacting to that, because he, like you said, Lucas, like you said, he said, "Oh, this guy, okay, he's divorced. This happened. All right, he's probably going to do this." But I think I don't know. I've been in this situation where I've studied, I've prepared, I did all my things. I'm ready to go. I think I got it in the bag. And the minute I get to it, even though I know the answer to the question, I still freeze for some weird reason because there's something wrong. So I don't really think that he can do it. And even on Anya's side too. I mean, she's a child at the end of the day. She can read everybody's mind. She can know whatever it is and this and that and hear things. But she's still a child, and especially if you haven't had any training to control your emotions, you're not, no matter how much practice you've done, especially with the time that we've seen them have. They need to have like 6 years from birth to how old she is now to train. Yeah. Right? She only had like maybe a couple of weeks at that to get this thing right. She's not going to become a master of her emotions in a couple of weeks at 6 years old. She could barely write properly.
It's not her emotions that needed to be controlled.
He's talking about Lloyd.
It was their emotions that needed to be controlled.
That's
what didn't make much sense there. Because I'm like, okay, wait a minute. If I can, because one, you kind of she should have been prepared for that question, because you should have seen how she was going to react to it. My thing is, I think they played up a lot on how prepared they were for this interview or how he prepares. And now they're showing you that maybe he doesn't prepare it the best way, because that's what I got. I said, "Oh, so
you know what?
He does surface level preparedness."
Yeah, because remember the last episode, I think it was 2 times that he said, "For the first time in my spy career, I feel like I'm about to quit."
Yeah,
and I think you're absolutely right. I think that he prepares for him, but he doesn't know how to prepare with other people.
But he even said it too in this episode that I'm so nervous because my life and this mission is dependent on other people outside of my sphere of influence. I can't control them.
See,
so he know how to do that.
And then he gets lost because even in this episode, you're seeing he doesn't even know how to prepare himself anymore. So that's what threw me off. Again, you expect emotional reaction from Anya, and then I would assume that Yor would have been the one who lost it completely.
She was.
But I didn't expect him to, because again, you prepare for, he's great, as Matthew said, he's used to prepare himself for this type of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I would assume you come up with every variable humanly possible that could come to mind. If I could come up with 3 outfits and 3 random changes of outfits, I should be able to come up with something like, how much of a butthole is this guy going to be?
I hear you though, and I mean, I pretty much agree with a lot of that, because a matter of fact, just to even further this, I was because we reacted to it earlier, so we were having a conversation. And I was like, why didn't they just send in a trained 6-year-old spy for this mission? because like in James Bond, they literally seek out orphans for this reason. They can literally give so this whole thing would have been would have ended a long time ago. But I mean, the thing when I'm looking at this, if we're being real, I mean,
I'm about to say, yeah,
if we're being real, they would send in a trained, one of the people, like some Red Room stuff.
What they say? They call it little people. A trained little person.
A trained little person
as his child, and he'd be like, "Yep, we're gonna pimp this out completely.
We done with this." But like it's true though. But they got to give us a story. I mean,
exactly,
and I'm fine with it. In reality, just because it's a story, and we got to see what they're doing with this group. But my thing with Lloyd though, that I'm noticing, because it does irritate me a little bit too, that like, come on, man, like you're about this action, and as we saw in the 5th episode, everybody admires you. And I guess we're gonna get to that, but like, everyone admires you, right? So it's like, why are you freezing in this moment? But then again, it's like, when you bring that emotional, because the thing is, he was never emotionally attached to any of his missions.
Yeah.
This is the first time. That's why, like, most of these things, like, even in Cobra Kai, they say fairy don't exist in this dojo. This don't exist. Like, when the minute you bring emotion into your projects and what you got to do, and into your business relationships, everything, it becomes personal. It becomes a problem, and it affects the way you think and the way you handle business. And we're seeing that with Lloyd, because he's attached to both of them, and he's getting hurt.
and that's the key part. He's attached to both of them, so all of this is coming out. So again, wow, I would have found it even more funny if he ultimately prepared for this, and then Anya broke, and then Yor broke, and then he's just like, what is wrong with you two people? Like we prepared for, like, just to see that reaction of him, like, we prepared for this, and you see the little flames and stuff going. That'd have been hilarious to me. So I didn't expect him to break like that in this situation. It still made for a nice moment, and I guess the goal is to show you that even a spy's heart can melt. That's the whole point of this, and that's why this is the most important episode, because episode 5 is really nothing but fun, nothing at all. But this sets the groundwork for everything moving forward with Lloyd and Anya.
One more thing to add to that. Sorry. I think about it, right? I know you're not really a fan of Black Panther, the movie, but think about it. I know you're not. But like, think about it though, right?
Nah.
I know. I'm not trying to open the worm. This is just the first instance I can think of. You have look at this. Look, you have Black Panther, right? I never freeze. All right. The minute love gets introduced into the situation, it's like, what happened to all these years of training? That's just what it is. People will, like, you've seen it in a lot of movies, a lot of shows, books. You introduce love as a component in any situation. It is what it is.
I'm just not going to comment on any of that, because I can't, because I want to take it somewhere completely different. Because it definitely wasn't love that did that. He was a liar. He had no training. He cheated. He only got the Black Panther. He cheated. He literally cheated. He got beat fair and square, and then he cheated.
Oh no, we gotta talk about that on a different occasion.
I got my teddy bear, so we're gonna move on to the next. I'm gonna set the stage. Okay, so end of this episode, the headmaster pimp slaps the dude, Will Smile, and he effectively decided how he could maybe proposition this a better way. Yeah. So at the end of the episode, though, they were defeated. They were like, man, we lost. Anya was kind of like, I'm so sorry. It's my fault. And both Yor and Laura were like, no, it's us. We broke code. I broke code. You didn't do anything wrong. You did the best of your ability. We're proud of you. And then he was kind of like, well, I guess it's over. But Yor was like, nah, what if the headmaster has sympathy on us? What if it works out? And then all of a sudden in the backdrop, they were so happy. Then their picture just falls, almost like it's a bad omen about to happen. So,
or as Anya said, maybe the two grandfathers.
Right. So
the two spectacle grandfather, one spectacle grandfather.
It's kind of like, who knows what's gonna happen. So then going into the next episode 5, sure enough, they kind of wait. It's weird. It's like a lot of random bad things started happening. But then
Picture
it got
fell.
to
The picture fell. That tells you everything bad is about to happen.
Yeah. And so after all the small little things started happening, then they got the call. It's like, okay, you guys are gonna be able to get in. And it was kind of like, okay, well, what does that mean? And then it's like, well, let's try to do this. But you know what, Anya, for your celebration, I'm owe you this. I owe you some time to yourself. And so, what's the guy's name that's his assistant? I forgot his name.
I'm just calling him Scruffy.
Scruffy.
Is that his name?
I don't even know, man. Scruffy.
That's his name now. Anya calls him Scruffy. His name is Scruffy.
So Scruffy decides that, okay, Anya loves, this spy show, and we should set the stage for Anya accordingly. Unbeknownst to him and Lloyd, I guess, this other person that was a mediator for his team was kind of like, oh, okay, Lloyd is on the precipice of completing the mission or getting past where he needs to go. So we need to give him anything he needs, anything he wants. So at that point, they're like, okay, well, we need this, and we need to go to this location, and we need all these different people to set the stage for this epic moment, this only for Anya. So how did you guys take episode 5? Outside of the comedy, how did you guys take episode 5? Because it's nothing but comedy, to be honest. But
this is a sweet father-daughter
episode.
Yeah. Like, he's willing. This just showed at this point that he's completely compromised. That he went as far as what he felt was embarrassing himself,
right,
just to make her happy.
Right.
Like, everything here was about making her happy.
Right.
And granted, I find it hilarious that when Scruffy said he'll just buy you everything you want. He said, don't promise her stuff like that. And then she says what she wants done. And by the end of the episode, we see technically he should have just bought her whatever she wanted, because it costs just that much to put on that. But it's just, what are you willing to do to make your child happy?
Right.
And are you willing to go, if you had unlimited resources, are you willing to go to the ends of the earth to make your kid happy? And that's what this represented to me is. This is him completely compromised at this point. This is the point of no return. He can no longer be the Lloyd he was before she came in his life after this has happened.
I agree.
Yeah, well, hold on, Sam. Can you give me the talking points, please? I don't want to go ahead and just say.
No, go.
So the thing for me too, just to add to that about like what are you willing to do as a father? Like, I always said like, oh man, like when I become a dad, like I'm not gonna spoil my kids. But I don't know that, because like, look, this is what I do for my dog. Like, I take my dog to walks all the time. And the one time I'm like, all right, we're not gonna go for a walk today. He comes up, goes up to his leash, and he's like jumping up and he's excited. I'm like, nope, you're not about to go. That's it. And I'm like, fine, let's go. I'm like, I couldn't help it. I couldn't say no. So if I'm doing that for my dog, imagine if my kid is like looking at me like Anya and she's all crying and she's sad. What am I gonna do? Like, what am I gonna say no? Like, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do, right? So, it really had me think, like, just to add to that, like, man, like this, that's love right there. You're gonna do what you gotta do. I mean, she's looking at you all crying and she's sad. And you're like, man, I don't want to be that, responsible for like making her upset for the rest of her life because of some situation like this. So, you do what you gotta do. You step into action. But the episode in general was just really fun. It was cute. It was, I mean, the thing that threw me the most was like when they called all the agents and they were mad serious and they were like running through the forest, like the helicopters, the boats, everything. It was just so hilarious to me, and I could not hold back laughing. It was just so funny. And I just love the fighting montage too. It just reminded me of a Jujutsu Kaisen episode, like a Jujutsu Kaisen fight, where they just, with the song choices and everything. So, yeah, I know you're probably saving the end of the episode to talk about, so I'm just.
Oh no, you could have went. We've been talking for a long time now.
I bet. So I'm gonna just say it. This Dior was boxing. Okay, you always boxing my mans. Like, she was ready to kill him. She was drunk and she was ready
drunk
to
as a skunk.
kill him.
Drunk as a skunk.
She was prepared.
This is why you don't plan things with drunk people and then think they won't get serious. all the jokey joke went out the window with yours. She like, oh no, you about to get this work.
Look, all I know is those thighs don't play no games. You saw she straight up kicked him with wind, and it cut his cheek.
Right.
That is insane to me. Like how crazy powerful this woman is, and how we haven't even really seen her at her peak yet. It's just little glimpses and stuff like that. I mean, we've been seeing Lloyd kind of like ignore everything that has happened so far. She's probably gonna my prediction is she's probably gonna, because I have no idea what's happening next, but my prediction is that she's gonna be like, oh yeah, I did a karate class in the summer, and it comes out when I'm drunk. You saw like, my brother says I have a chronic karate problem.
or him say, wait a minute, she's a witch. Why is she doing combat?
But the thing too about that too is that we were talking is like all those other spies had nothing on them, right? They were all ready to fight, and they were like, man, yes, I get to fight Twilight. It's what's up, dropping them, dodging them. But then when he gets to her,
bruh,
I think the issue with and I was saying this in my reaction, like I think he was caught off guard, and again, it's just a further layer, added layer to prove how off this game he is.
Yep,
because he didn't even come close to anticipate that she would even be capable of doing half of that, even though despite seeing that she just randomly knew cow pressure points and she knew how to catch a tray with her toes, like or like all the other stuff that she's done, like jumping off the ledge, ninja style, running down to go chase somebody. I mean, come on, you see all this.
He's lost in the sauce. It's kind of like it's like when you're in your marriage phase, right? You're in your honeymoon phase. And you're kind of like, she can do no wrong kind of thing. But his sensibilities about her, even though he's sizing everybody else up, the reality is that he hasn't taken any note to what Anya is actually understanding and doing, like with her, psychological powers.
Especially from the episode with the tests, because she clearly said that she wanted to get the big boss and don't find the organization. And he's like, wait a minute, what are you saying?
Like, he never rethought about it. He didn't say to himself, like, you know what, I might need to ask her about how she knew that later. Like he's not there. And when it comes to from the beginning, it's not even that he's just like, he knows he needs her. It's more so like he enjoys the idea of her being there.
Yeah.
And because of that, he is not assessing this well. Because I ain't gonna lie to you, the worst case scenario is gonna be, to me, is that eventually he gets past the examination, he gets into the school, he gets close to be able to take care of the person he needs to, and then Yor has to kill that person. And an immediate clash happens because she's gonna kill that person. She's not gonna stop killing the person. She might not kill Lloyd, but she's gonna kill that person.
Yep.
And what does he do with that? Right. And I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Like that fight left an impression on me. I was like, yeah, he's caught off guard. And yeah, she's drunk, but she may be more of a pound than him. I'm not gonna lie to you. I hate to say it wrong, but he is an amazing spy.
He's just a spy.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like she is the most deadliest thing that
she's a trained assassin.
But you see though, right? Like, if we actually get to a point, because I think, look, to go back to what I was bringing up with programming, I think yours programming is not even. I think hers is probably the most intact. To be honest, because whenever it comes time to her to be ready, she is ready, and you can see it in her face.
Oh, yeah.
Like when she put the pressure point on the couch, her whole demeanor, everything was just instant. And I'm pretty sure when that time comes, it'll be crazy. But the only thing I'm thinking, if Lloyd could just, or Twilight, or wherever we're gonna address him, can come back to that point where he was in the beginning, there's one thing he might have over her, and I like to call it the Batman effect. He might have, especially if he has some prep time, he might be able to outsmart her. I'm just saying, because that might, if you really think about it, I feel like they need to be of equal.
But Batman was also an assassin and a ninja.
Okay, fair,
he has no chance.
So fair, but think about it though. Think about it. The thing about spies that are different from assassins. Assassins, they're programmed to do one specific thing, just like spies, right? Kill. Spies are programmed to assimilate and assess. They're programmed to adjust. So, and be unpredictable. Never let them know your next move. Like you look at Bond. The Spy Wars characters, Bondman. You look at Daniel Craig's Bond. Probably like my favorite Bond, right? If I'm being real with you, just because I grew up with him. But like Daniel Craig's Bond, he's probably the most unpredictable spy you will ever come across, because he's not the most formidable fighter in the sense that he knows all these fighting styles, or like Batman. He's not anything crazy with his hands like that. He's a pretty good shot. The thing that makes him the best spy is his unpredictability. And if Lloyd, I'll just say this, I'll shut up. But like, if Lloyd,
no, you're doing great here, because you literally brought up the person I was going to bring up in comparison, which
with
is
a Bond.
Yeah, James Bond was the perfect comparison. That's what I said. Go ahead, though. Hold you finish, then I'll say what I say.
Yeah, I mean, I say this to wrap myself up, but like you bring Lloyd, if he gets to that spot and he needs to focus, he could probably get the better of Yor, if I'm being real with you. Even though he may not be as good of a fighter as she is, because that's all she's meant to do. He's trained in other ways up here, right? Not saying that she's not smart or she doesn't have her own skill sets that requires her intellect. It's just the fact that he's more used to adapting to situations than an assassin. If they miss their kill, they're going to flee usually. They usually, I missed. I'm out of here. We'll try this again next week.
It depends on what type of assassin.
Well, we're not because it's not John Wick. It's not John Wick.
I'm about to say no.
I was going to bring that up,
because to me that was the comparison. This is comparing James Bond to John Wick, because we saw how Yor was when she went to kill one person and multiple people were in the room. She wasn't prepared. That was not her being prepared for that, because they weren't supposed to be there. But what did she do? She like, oh no, I can just kill all of you.
It's okay. I can live about it.
It's.
I have a question about that though.
When you have an assassin that can actually think out their plans, and not someone who's just sit on a mission and go straight through with the mission. And what I mean by that is, in that quick glimpse at the beginning of this episode, when they said, well, the only way Anya can get into school is somebody's missing, her mind quickly transitioned to not only a person, who to kill, why to kill him. Like, that's an assassin that fully thinks things out. I think that's what makes them two interesting.
Yeah.
That's what makes the family dynamic work. In all honesty, is because it's a switch of the dynamic people are accustomed to.
Right.
Lloyd is not the strongest or the most deadliest member.
Right.
And that's what you need to see, because you had to have someone who he felt was either above him or his equal.
Right.
And I think we're just waiting for that episode, like as you said, when she comes out and say, to jujitsu classes after yoga, like, or something like that, or something happens where she fully reveals who she is to him.
It's gonna happen,
and then that reaction to him, because I think that's what right now he cares for her. He's gonna fall in love with her the moment that she reveals exactly who she is.
Absolutely,
yeah.
I mean, I had a question about that too, because like what you're saying with the hotel room, was she able to beat them because she's good at just assessing the situation, or she's able to beat them because it doesn't even matter, because she's just that strong?
I think it's both.
Because you walk into a room, like you never see like I know Sam, you see some of this anime, like you walk in there, he's like, all right, I came for one, but I could take all 5 of y'all. It doesn't even really matter to me how many people's in this room. Like, if it's one person, 10 people, 15, it don't matter to me. Everybody's going. So that's the thing. But I feel like I've seen so many situations like that. Where people who know how to work with power scaling know how to make each member have their strengths and weaknesses, but still make them equal in a way.
Yep.
Like I've seen this with y'all may not be familiar, but there's another anime called Naruto, which I'm a huge fan of. And while that show has a lot of plot issues, one of the things I love about that anime is you have a main character who's just overwhelmingly like just powerful, like just raw strength, but he's stupid. He's like really dumb. And you have another guy who is probably maybe a little bit stronger than him, but he's extremely smart. His rival, extremely smart. And the thing is, the smart guy, even though he's smart and strong, just like he's always prepared. He's always thinking like 10, 15, 20 steps ahead. He knows people. He knows how to look out people. He's always calm. His demeanor is always focused. He knows how to get his way over the main character, right? The thing that makes that main character have something over him is his unpredictability. Because if something goes wrong and it doesn't go according to plan, like the other guy, there you go, my man, Naruto and Sasuke on the left. Naruto on the left being super strong and unpredictable and not being the smartest guy, and Sasuke on the right being the smarter of the two of them, 10 times smarter. Naruto is going to find a way to win, regardless. He can have his arm broken off, his leg broken off. He got the main character energy. Like, he's going to find a way.
plot armor.
Plot armor. It doesn't matter, but...
I'm about to say, yes, this sounds just like Doctor Strange. Go ahead, continue.
We're not going to do that.
If you want to talk about plot armor, if you want to talk about an anime that has plot armor, we need to talk about Dragon Ball Z. But anyway,
we're not even going.
Yeah, exactly. So, despite all of that, my example still remains the same. Despite the writing issues and whether plot armor or not, I think they found a cool and interesting way.
A cool way to make them equal, while their power sets may not be completely equal. And I think that is what we're getting with these two, where the set may not be. Again, I think he's a great fighter who really thinks out his situation. And I think actually Yor is the one who's more unpredictable.
Yeah.
And I think her unpredictability is what threw him off in that fight, because she was doing things he didn't expect to have happen. So that actually shows he may not be the best at adapting to every situation. While she may be, but they're both equally the same. Well, so I think your analogy works perfect for them too, because it makes perfectly good sense.
So I mean, that's also a play off on the family dynamic too.
Yeah.
Like he cannot predict. It's like he can't really predict like the reaction, how the fight planned out. But more so than anything, the family and what it's doing to him as well. Like, that's happening in real time. That's not like, oh, he has to wait and see them every other day like a job. Like, no, he's living with them.
Yep.
He's doing life with them, and he's caring for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's technically covering them. You know what I mean? Like, it's different where you have like a partner and you're looking out for your partner. Like, no, he's covering his pseudo family. And so I think that you're right. Like, he can't account for that. But no, I mean, to be honest with you, like, I was sitting there thinking Batman versus Punisher. I mean, Batman can go and plan all day and counter this or that, but Punisher, by any means necessary, he's going to kill you. He doesn't have to be in the same vicinity of you. He's going to try to find a way of just.
That's not a good comparison.
I don't know about Punisher.
I'm saying.
I get where you're going.
Yeah, I'm saying my immediate head went.
That's not at all a good comparison. No.
So I'm just saying that was what my immediate head went. But anyway, we're gonna go because we got summertime rendering that we're about to start up. We actually a little bit 6 minutes late. Hope you guys enjoyed this 2-episode dissection. Make sure you like it. Subscribe.
Need some elegant likes.
Button. Go down to the description bar below. Check out Matt's YouTube channel. Check out his social media. Subscribe to Matt. And we'll be right back. We're literally about to start a brand new show. So you guys are watching on Twitter. You guys are watching on YouTube. Make sure you stay tuned because notifications about to hit. We'll be right back. All right. Peace, people.
Filing out the top.